Welcome to the overview of the business management solution Keith. Now I have open an example copy here full with records, so I can show you how it works once it's been set up and you've been running for some time. This is when its real use becomes obvious. Now I'm going to do what I do in my own business, because I use this in my own business, a print and design industry. Now, like most people, I guess, the first thing I'll do is I'll want to check my emails to see if any business has come in. Now, the Pro version has an email client built directly into the solution. Now I'm going to look through here for an example that I've created. Here it is here. I'm going to read through my emails. You don't need to use the Pro version, you can use Outlook or whatever. There's a few advantages to using this which will become obvious as we go along. Now, this is the example I wanted to use. I know about this job coming in, and so I've had to look for it, and I've read it, and let's say the customer is after a quote. Now what I like to do is I like to select the relevant information from the email itself, and I just copy that with the keyboard. And then I come across to this button here, which, as it tells you there, if you hover over it for a moment, will create a new record under that customer name if you have them on record. So I'm going to click that now, and then it gives you a warning about what you're about to do in case you've hit it by mistake. So we're going to go yes there, and what we've done now is we've created a document under the name Sample Company, because they are the people who have sent the email, and I have those email addresses in my mailing list. So the first thing I'll do is I'll go to my job description field, and I'll paste what I just read in the email. So there I've set up a new record with all the details that I need to produce that job. Now, of course, I've just made this up, Sample Company, but under Contact, the first tab, we see the details of that particular customer. We have two contacts here, phone numbers, email addresses, street address, and postal address. And as I said, we're going to make this one a quote. So in the top left, what we do is we look under the title quote, we press that, and it turns blue when it's been selected, and then we want to change the status up here to quote. And there we see it's now created a quote. It's given it a quote number, and it's given it a date. So what we want to do now is to price the job. Now I'm going to use a plugin here for the print industry that I use for myself, digital printing. Let's say, for example, this job has 250 pages, and we want 50 copies, double-sided, onto A4 80-gram paper. And there it comes up with the price. We can now fill in the description field, or we can just use this little button here, which will take the information that you've selected from the drop-down menus and put that information straight in for you to save you typing. Okay, this is now a finished quote. We can have a look at it under the quote tab, under view. We can see how it's going to look to the customer. First thing we see is the logo. That's my logo, because I've set up this particular set of records, of course, with my own business. There's my details there, and here we see the description that I copied from the email that was sent, along with my description of the job and the price with the GST and total, along with the quote number, date and time. Okay, so now we want to, if the customers come into the business, We can just print that out onto our printer, or, as is more common these days, email. Now that will send an email either to the default or number one contact, or if you select one of the other contacts, you just click their name here and their details will come up in the heading there. If they had a phone number, that would be there. And so when you click email, an email will be sent with a PDF version of the quote that we just looked at. Okay, now let's say we've spoken to the customer, or we've had an email back saying please go ahead with that job. So that's very easy. We now want to make that job in progress. So we go to orders now, so it's become an order. So we click the order button, and again we want to change the status, click yes, to what I call in progress. That's all the jobs that I'm doing at any one particular time. And a list of those can be found under jobs. And here we see all the jobs that I have in this example on the go. And you can switch between jobs. If a customer calls up to see the status of a particular order, you can just click their name and it'll shoot directly to that record with the descriptions and prices that you put in. Okay, now let's say the original order. Now where are we? That was that top one, of course. Let's say we want to go ahead and get this produced. So when it's been created as an order, we then have a new view, a very basic view here, which is what goes around the shop in my particular case. It goes around the production department, and they'll produce this document and do whatever needs to be done in the description. And when it comes back, it normally takes a day or so in my case, we'll have to find this particular job using the jobs in progress list. And then we want to turn it into an invoice once it's been completed. So we just move over to the invoice tab, and we want to change that now to an invoice. I click yes, and there we see the status has been changed to invoice. So again, we can have another look now at how this looks. We then see all the same information that was on the quote, with a few more. Of course, we have the bank details, and then we have the invoice number and the invoice date, and then remittance advice also. And again, that can be either printed out, sent out with a job, or it can be emailed to whoever you've chosen as your contact at this particular customer. And that's it. You've created a quote, you've turned it into an order, and you've created an invoice. And so the job is now complete. So the next thing, of course, is to make sure that you get paid. You've sent them an invoice, so hopefully they'll pay on that, or perhaps you send out statements. So what we'll do now is we'll go to accounts. There's another tab here. It'll turn blue once it's been selected. And the default is to go to a list of all the jobs from this particular customer that are unpaid. And hopefully at the end of the month you'll have a check or a statement showing that a certain amount is being paid. Now if it's just one invoice, you just click on this button here and set it as paid. But normally a customer will have 3 or 4 or even more invoices they're paying in one go, hopefully all of one month. Now we'll see here that this is the invoice that we created a moment ago. Now let's say they're paying for that, along with 1 or 2 others. And we're going to just click these buttons here. Now they don't have to be in order. I might pay out of order. All sorts of things happen here. So we'll select a number of records, and then we're going to click this button here called Submit Multiple Payments. And once you click that, it'll make sure you want to do this, because once this is done, of course, it's very difficult to put back if you've made an error. So we're going to proceed with this payment. Let's say it was paid via the internet. And here, we now have a total of all those invoices that we've chosen, and we want to make sure that agrees with the check or the bank statement. And once it does, you can proceed, or if it doesn't, you click Exit, and then you can go through and make sure you've clicked all the right buttons. So let's proceed with that. We then see that all those invoices that we've selected have disappeared from the unpaid list, as money is no longer owing. They will appear though under all invoices for this customer, and then we see a list of the ones that were paid along with their dates and the amounts. And in fact, this is the list of all the jobs that have ever been done for this particular customer. And that's it for the overview. More tutorials are coming out for more detailed look at how it runs. I hope you'll have a look at them.